Thanks, Keith. Yes, I am just delighted to be part of this team. I joined the SOLC team in early March and had 2 days in the office before we were all asked to work from home. But I couldn't have asked for a more supportive and welcoming group as I make the transition. So I'm going to just highlight a couple of the education initiatives that we've got going. Um, there's my email address, tara@landconserve.org. Absolutely feel free to email me. I'm always happy to chat about this stuff. So on the first slide, we've got this beautiful aerial picture of the Rogue River Preserve. And as Christy mentioned, we've got a lot of education offerings in the works for this piece of property. One of our focus areas in terms of education here is reaching 4th and 5th grade students at rural schools that are immediately adjacent to the preserve. And we just last week had a wonderful visit at the preserve with 4 classroom teachers, 2 principals, and a district level administrator who came out and walked the property. And you would not believe the level of enthusiasm and excitement from these folks. They are just over the moon at the prospect of having an outdoor classroom like this, where their students will get to come back multiple times throughout the year to both develop their scientific literacy skills, but also to develop their environmental literacy skills and a sense of stewardship and caretaking for an open space that's right in their backyard. The 2 schools are within a 10-minute drive. So that's pretty exciting to be looking at welcoming such local students to this property. We are also looking at dovetailing those students' experiences with some open public access days, giving those kids opportunities to share what they've learned with the public and probably also with their parents on those days. And also on those days, we're looking at developing a docent program so that we can have some volunteers on hand to both serve as kind of rangers around the property, help folks get where they're going, but also give some interpretive hikes. And like Christy mentioned, we're also developing some high school service learning and research-based opportunities at the preserve. And now a lot of these things are happening in-house, but we could not have the incredible reach that we do without our partnerships. And some of those partnerships that we're working on, one is the Southern Oregon University Environmental Ed Master's Degree Program that Christy mentioned. And for example, this year, we've got a cohort from that program who are developing a public open access day at the Rogue River Preserve, and they're working with an organization in Ashland that serves adults with developmental disabilities. And that's a population that we have never reached, and we wouldn't have necessarily had a point of contact. And we are just so excited to be working with new audiences like that through the SOU partnership. We've also been talking with the folks at the outdoor school program. We can't offer an overnight program at the preserve, but we are looking into the possibility of offering a half-day stewardship-focused visit that would be for students who are on their way back home from a multi-day trip at another facility. And that would kind of help place their outdoor school experience into a slightly larger context by having them take a peek at another property, another open space area in their region. And a third partnership that we're looking at is working with the OSU Extension Agency to develop some professional development offerings for classroom and informal educators. So using the preserve and using the incredible knowledge of our staff and our volunteers to help teachers feel really comfortable and confident teaching about conservation and stewardship. And then we've got some volunteer opportunities in the works. As I mentioned, we're looking at developing a docent corps to help facilitate our open public access days and also some of those education programs. And of course, as Christy mentioned, on a property this big and this complex, there are always stewardship needs. And so we are putting together a stewardship corps to help with invasive species removal, trail maintenance, and all those things that go along with caring for such a special property. So these are all things that are in the works. Unfortunately, a lot of them have been put on pause with schools not being in school at the moment. But I have been doing some other things to keep busy and to keep with the education and outreach during the stay-at-home orders. So on the next slide, we'll see screenshot from Facebook, and I worked with the Southern Oregon Regional Environmental Education Leaders Network, So Real, to gather together about 20 different content providers, environmental education content providers, to post a video almost every day that just encourages folks to get outside and take a break from the screens. And this has been a really wonderful way, both for me to get to know the folks in the field in this entry time for me, but also it's been a really wonderful way for us to kind of position the Southern Oregon Land Conservancy as a leader in this kind of work, because I was one of the 3 coordinators of this effort. And so it's been really fun to, start to field questions about what's happening and, who's doing what. So currently this project is housed primarily on Facebook, and Facebook can be a little bit challenging to navigate sometimes. So we are also working on transitioning some of these over to YouTube. All of the videos that I created are already available on our YouTube channel in a playlist called Outside Every Day. But we're also working on getting some of the other content providers' videos translated into Spanish. And then those Spanish translated videos will be also housed on this same YouTube playlist, so that it's a little bit more accessible for folks who maybe don't have Facebook or aren't familiar with Facebook. There'll just be a single link where you can show up and you can see all of these videos in English and in Spanish. And I'm really excited about that as a way to reach a wider demographic in our community. And then another thing that I've been working on in partnership with the City of Ashland at Ordson Todd Woods, that property that Christy mentioned, is a story map. And in case you're not familiar with story maps, they are, you can either use it as an app on your phone, or you can download it or just visit a website with the content. But the idea is that you walk around a site, or you can take a little virtual walk from the comfort of your home. And as you walk through the site, the app directs your attention to certain things. And so I've been spending time in Ordson Todd Woods, picking out some examples of different parts of the ecological systems in there, biotic, abiotic, and cultural factors, highlighting those with photos, diagrams like you see here, and then also including some activities and discussion questions so that folks, as they're walking through the woods, can start to engage with the landscape in a little bit more of a meaningful way. So with that, I think that's all I've got. And so I'm going to hand it back over to Keith to wrap up. But again, please do feel free to email me. I'd be delighted to hear from you. Thank you.